Welcome to the postgame pregame show for the Charlotte Hornets podcast as we review last night's. I'm sorry, as we review last night's upsetting loss against the Atlanta Hawks. We're going to talk about some things that we saw, some positives, some negatives, and then we'll transition into tonight's game as me and Mike, right before the show, we got information about the injury report, and we'll see, man. We will see. We will see who goes tonight, but it's looking like the wounded warriors right now, POW list. Um, I want to introduce my co-head host, my brother Mike Johnson, aka AC Grizzle, Amongst the Trees podcast. Welcome to the show, brother. How you doing today?
Doing all right. Good morning. I think it's afternoon for you now. But yeah, that loss, it's gonna haunt them. It was there. That win was there for the taking.
Yeah, that one was definitely there, man. And let's just start off with what we saw from the first quarter on. In the post game interview, head coach Charles Lee and Miles Bridges, they talked about getting off to faster starts, and being locked in from tip off, so they are not climbing uphill, so they're not shooting themselves in the foot, trying to do what they did in Houston on the road, which is come back from 18 down. They were down in this game as well. What do you attribute to these slow starts, Mike?
I don't know about the for both games, but this past game, it looks like the Hornets want to get out and run. They want to be fast paced, get the ball moving, and Atlanta was just not going to let that happen. They were committed to stopping the break. They were getting their hands in passing lanes. So they kind of gunked the game up a lot early on. And you saw that with all the turnovers that the Hornets had because they were just if you're trying to play fast against a defense like that, it's going to cost some stuff up. And so once the Hornets kind of settled down, they took care of the ball more. But at that time, they weren't running no more. So the Hawks were effective at slowing down the pace. Um, yeah, it just took the team a little bit to get into it. It took Lamelo a little bit to get it into rhythm. That first quarter he was. I think the only positive thing he was really doing was drawing fouls and getting people in foul trouble. But they threw the whole kitchen sink at him in that first quarter, and he had to figure it out, and he did.
Yeah, man. I agree with you. I do think the Hawks length caused a lot of problems. I don't know. I don't know if we're set up to. I don't see a lot of us trying to play transition. I don't see that. I think Lamelo's always trying to play transition basketball. I think him and Miles are. They're just they're wired that way. But you just don't have the personnel on the floor for it. So I mean, it's not really where I was impressed with the Hawks was half court defense. I think that's where we got into a lot of trouble. It was so much length out there. When we would set that single high pick and roll, they already had another guy there ready to switch. So it kind of like negated what you were doing. But as far as like fast break, man, I ain't man. The only fast break offense we really have right now is Miles and Melo, that two-man game they run, and Seth Curry flaring out for threes. Everything else, man, like it's a lot of X's and O issues with this team. It's early on. You got a new coach. I don't think the full offense is installed yet. I think it's evolving as we speak. But man, I think we get into the most trouble when we're in the half court. In the half court, we have absolutely, really, our offense is pretty much Lamelo, Trae, Miles, save us late in the shot clock. Like that's really that's it. These are not sets. These are not plays. You'll see some good ATO stuff. I've seen him drop some good ATO stuff after timeout stuff, but like in the half court, we're in trouble, man. And but that first quarter, I do think there's something going on in the first quarter where our energy is not where it needs to be, and I do put that on Lamelo. I do put that on Lamelo because I think that's a leadership thing from the point guard position. That's a floor general thing, and like I said, SoCal players they're just traditionally more laid back. They're just, you know what I'm saying? It takes them a minute like to get engaged. And Lamelo was kind of like going through the motions. You're right. He was trying to figure out what they were doing in the half court. I saw that. Like a lot of times he was kicking the ball and stepping back like, okay, these guys are really up high. And even when I come off a pick, there's no space. So I do think you're absolutely right when it comes to that. Are there any adjustments you can see in the lineup that can be made? And this can lead us into our Trey Man conversation that can help us get to a faster start because some of this is just the personnel isn't good right now. What adjustments as a coach do you think, might need to be made in the lineup early so that we're not getting behind the eight ball?
Well, that's what I was thinking about this past few minutes was the starting lineup. You're starting Lamelo, Seth, and Cody Martin. Um, Seth is a good uh, off-ball player. He can keep the defense honest, but you're not really worried about him at the start of the play. You're really focused on the main ball handler, which is Lamelo, and so it hurts not having Brandon out there, who is a scoring threat off the ball that you do have to worry about. Opens it up a little bit more. So you're putting basically all the pressure on Lamelo to create everything. Because once he gets going, then he can bring Seth into the game. Cody, I mean, honestly, right now, I feel good with him catching and shooting in the corner. But in terms of him putting the ball on the floor and making a move or a secondary move, I get nervous when I see him doing that. I don't know if he can do that. You were saying he's on the injury report.
Yeah, Cody's on the injury report. LaMelo's on the injury report. Seth Curry's on the injury report. And I think and Josh Green is out.
Yeah, and so I don't like getting in the game of blaming the result on like the refs because I truly don't think that the refs really were the cause of the game, but they were a factor. Um, and it's frustrating in the NBA because on night to night the refing's so inconsistent. And if you're not getting the whistle, you're really going uphill. And so they had despite the refing, they had to win the game. So I'm not saying that was the be all end all, but it definitely impacts the way you can play. Um, when you're playing against a stacked deck like that, where you're in the bonus, you can't do anything with Trae. He's too crafty. He's too quick. Um, if you sag off him, he's shooting on you. If you pull up in his pocket trying to get him to pass the ball, or whatever, he's herky jerky, and the refs love him. Like we've seen in the past when the refs have stopped calling those ticky tacks to him, he does not look as invincible like that. But yesterday he was dangerous. He definitely did his thing yesterday. Um, he he had a good game. Like I can't even hate on him.
Yeah, man, he made some good shots. I think early on, especially. I think Trey's downfall, and this is like you said, I call it the WWE of the NBA. It's certain teams he's just not going to get those calls. And what happens for Trey is he starts relying on it too much. You know what I'm saying? And there's to me, there's more to his game than that. And I think he falls victim. I have a statement that I want to make, and this is just a basketball perspective thing. Trae Young is not a great shooter. I've watched enough basketball of him to know. Like last night, he was 5 of 14. I think the first game he was 4 of 14. That's who Trey is. Like that's just who he is. But what he does do a great job at, and like I said, it's a double edged sword because when he plays certain teams, he doesn't get those calls. But he does do a good job of getting to the free throw line. You got to give him credit for it. You know what I'm saying? Some of it is egregious. Don't get me wrong. Some of it is very hard to watch. But at the end of the day, it works. It works against those kind of teams. And if you're just a team that just wants to get to the playoffs, get to the play-in, then, it'll get you there. Will it get you any further when everyone in the East is fully healthy? No, you're going home. But Trey was killing us with that last night. He knew he was against a team, didn't have a lot of respect, don't have a lot of accolades, so he's going to, manipulate the defense. He also does a great job, and he was killing us getting into the paint. And you got to give his screeners a lot of credit. Clint Capella, Jalen Johnson. Those guys don't just set one pick. If they miss out on one pick, they stall the entire offense, come back and pick again. That's their offense. That's the Atlanta Hawks, and they're committed to it. And I don't think we had a proper game plan for that. We're still running drop coverage with Nick Richards. I saw in the second half with Lamelo when they saw he was heating up, and I'm going to pass it back to you, where they start telling Clint Capella, push up, push up. And I don't know if Nick is just having a hard time processing the information, but it's just like certain basketball things that other average guards pick up on. Nick just he doesn't have the recognition to say, okay, you know, three is more than two. I've got to push up because, like you said, with Trae when he's coming off those picks, if you don't step up as the big, you're gonna have to fight over the screen. The Hawks have been trained well when they fight over the screen, do this, and they're blowing the whistle. So you're not gonna win that. So we got out coached. And there's just no shame in that. It's Charles Lee's second game. He's going against Quinn Snyder. I met Quinn Snyder. I talked to Quinn Snyder. He is a brilliant basketball mind, if you ask me. But it's just like we're fighting uphill early in the season right now, man. Half of the roster's out. We don't have the best X's and O's. Mike, give the fans some hope, bro. Like, give them some hope, because I don't have anything to tell you. But maybe Mike can tell us something. I don't know, Mike. Give me some positives out of this game, and give me some positives, assuming Lamelo plays tonight, coming into this.
You already losing hope,
bro. This is not a serious roster. This is not a serious roster, bro. It's a disrespectful roster. It's, to me, if I'm gonna be honest, if you're bad at the deadline, I really want to see you potentially move Lamelo because I don't think it's fair. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, he's on the injury report again tonight. And I just said in Houston when he was fully healthy, I said, bro, he's gonna get injured if we keep doing this. And then you're dealing with, can he stay healthy? No, you can't stay healthy. Because no one else in the league is playing with a roster like this constantly. This is not a serious team. Why don't you go out and I'm not talking about any big names. I'm talking about, once again, a Dorian Finney, a guy that is 6'10", 6'11". Well, now when the Hawks have all that length, you have length to match. This is simple stuff. You got, 6 first-round picks in the next 4 years. I think you got 4 second-round picks. You got 2 second-round picks. Bro, you can trade these pieces. You can trade these pieces and get serviceable. I'm just asking for serviceable. Not all NBA, not all stars, guys that when they walk off the bus have length. If you're not going to do that, I can't take you serious. Because now you're looking at a home opener where you're trying to sell a new arena to the fans. You're trying to get money for the practice facility. But you might come out on your home opener with this new regime. Second year in a row, no LaMelo Ball, no Brandon Miller. Your role players are hurt, bro. Beat up men that you pay to be there are hurt in the third game of the season. And that's because you got them guarding 6'9" guys. Seth Curry was guarding DeAndre Hunter, bro, for the majority of that game. And then we look at that and we say with a straight face, we got something. We don't. We do not. We do not. We don't have anything. We have 2 outstanding pieces. We have Miles Bridges. We have Trae Mann, who it feels like Trae is just in a box. And everything else is interchangeable. That's just the truth of it. But what do you say, Mike? Like I said, I don't want to be too negative. I don't want to be Debbie Downer. Give us hope, brother. Give us hope.
Well, for me, I'm zooming out right now because you have to kind of take it all into context. And the roster we have has pieces, but it's not fully formed. I feel like we've always known that, which has never been sold to us as a perfect roster that's ready to compete right now. They told us this is we want to see what we have. So they used last season to let guys play out and see what they got. And then this year they're going in with that core of Miles, Brandon, and Lamelo, and you would think Mark Williams, and then from there on out we're going to see if this core is good or not. But then everyone else, they're kind of like I said, it's a trial for everybody else. Um, Cody, they didn't sign Cody. He came to them. Uh, yeah, I mean, they inherited him. But everybody else they brought in, and again, they had to get off of Terry. They had to get off of Gordon. So we're dealing with the players that they got back from that. So again, I don't think they got these players thinking this is our team. We're ready to go right now. Um, so the early results, I can't really fault them for that because you're still letting it play out. Now, as the season goes along, you're starting to see what this team can be and the pieces that you need to bring in. Like right now, it's glaring. You need a big, right? And so uh, we're a little bit heavy. Not even heavy, but the roster is heavy on guards. Not like quality guards, but we got a lot of guards. I mean, you got someone like Miಚಿc who's just dead weight. Uh, that guy should not be out there. It's you're gonna see like someone might create an advantage, get in the paint, swing the ball. The defense rotates, the ball goes to Miಚಿc, and it is just done, right? Because he's not a threat on catch and shoot. He's not really attacking the paint after that. So it's just like you can't really have a flowing, functioning offense with him out there because he's so bad. He can't really do much. On defense, he's also a turnstile. He's small, so he gets posted up, but it's on both ends of the floor, you're constantly carrying that guy. And I don't know why he's still playing so much. Like, give me KJ Simpson, give me Nick Smith Jr. If we're gonna be uh, testing out lines and seeing where we're at, then give them a run out. Because you ain't fooling nobody with Meaches. You're not going to be able to play him for a few weeks because they tried to do it with Terry and Gordon last year. It didn't work. Like people know their ass. Like you're not going to fool nobody. Just get up off them. And that's my big rub with Mitch and Jordan is that they were doing this wait and see approach for years. Like so that's why it's egregious. Like if you tell me you're going to do that for 6 to 8 months, I believe you. But when you're in year three of we're going to see we got. We're going to see what we got. You don't have anything. You got to make a move from that. And I can't get too mad at Charles Lee right now when he has to play with some of these guys. Like you're playing with the busted up Cody Martin, who I don't rate that much to begin with. You got Nick Richards, who's a backup, forced to play a starting role. You got Diabate, who snuck in on the roster at the last minute. Um, I like him on defense, but he's a zero on offense. He's not a real threat, so it's tough to play with him. And then after that, like, what else do you got? Josh Green looked like he was hurt still. Um, I don't see this elite defender uh, that we were sold, and I can only imagine it's because he's hurt. So really, all I really feel good about is Miles, Lamelo, um, Trey Man, and Grant. Those people I feel solid about. TJ, I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if they're like, so I don't know if they have this like locked in rotation in the head right now where it's like Trey Man is our sixth man. So no matter what happens in terms of injuries, we don't want to mess up our rotation, so we're to keep him that way. And then I'm wondering why that's also why he's playing Diabate over TJ. That's weird to me. Um, I I don't know what I would lose by playing TJ at the five in place of Diabate. Like you can say TJ's not a five, he's not good at it. Great, I got you. I'm not arguing with that. But in a replacement of Diabate, I want to see what it looks like. And that's 2 games now. He has a DMP.
Excellent points, my brother. No doubt about it. Um, it doesn't work. Uh, you're a new owner. You decided to spend your money for this. That's great. You decided to do that. See year five of Lamelo Ball. And if you're an agent, you're a manager. What you start to do is you start from year one, the trajectory of the other people in your class, and you start lining up those rosters. It doesn't matter if you're new, it doesn't matter what you need to see. There's nothing you need to see. You've been asked forever. That's just the truth. The Charlotte Hornets, no one has to prove anything to the Charlotte Hornets. That's one of the most fictitious lies that we've ever heard. They sell us on that every year. The old ownership group, the new ownership group. I'm about to pull something up right now I'm done with it. I'm done with it. This is one of the worst teams in the league. You're going to notice something when you look at this roster. These are NBA players that have been on contenders. This is the Detroit Pistons. They have not been in the playoffs since God knows when. But somehow they're astute enough to do their jobs, not asking for contenders, not asking you to be a finished product, but you have to be serviceable enough to give that team, which is LaMelo Ball's team, hope enough on nights where we sustain one or two injuries, we don't look like a high school basketball team. They have Malik Beasley. They have Tim Hardaway. They have Paul Reed. They have Tobias Harris. Like, they have names on this roster. Even their forward, Simone Fettuccini. I watched him the other night. The guy's like 6'10", 6'11". They have guys that can step up and at least create length. They can at least have length on the floor, bro. Isaiah Stewart is like their 8th or 9th guy. Bro, be for real, man. We just got to be for real. What are we doing? What product are we constantly pumping out? Stop lying. You don't have to sell us this shit. No one told you to go get diabetes, bro. You had Mo Guy on your roster. He was right there. That's not a guy coming in that's going to be $50 million. You could have this guy on a two-way. We all see he's more serviceable than, I can't think of the kid's name, Diabate. Like, come on, a 6'10 guy. You can just throw him out there. If he doesn't play well, you don't lose anything. Send his ass to Greensboro. You're not going to tell me he's going to be better than Mo Guy. Like what are we doing? Even with Tajon, I think Tajon has a lot of upside. I think he's a guy that's very good. I really think in the future he has a very bright future. But you're telling me you wouldn't rather have Dalton Connect out there with LaMelo Ball last night? Matisse Mazelis? Like, these are not things that you have to wait and see. These were decisions you made right now, right here, that are affecting you right here and right now. So why in good faith should a Jermaine Jackson, who is the guy that makes the decisions in the background behind LaMelo, he gets with LaMelo, they have conversations. What faith in year 5 does he see other than Brandon Miller and Miles, who's on a 3-year tradable contract next year, right? What do we have going in the future, heading into year 6 now, after this year, that says they're going to get this right overnight?
I don't think that's fair to say because it's not the same. It's Lamelo's 5th year, but it's not the owner's 5th year.
But
So
that's
you
their problem,
can't
Mike.
blame them for the.
But Mike, that's their problem.
No, you.
That's not how it works, Mike. That's not how the NBA works. You don't.
It is how it works because
That's not how it
you're
works.
you're talking about the player losing faith in the
Bro,
organization, and I'm telling you, it's a different
The
organization.
Phoenix Suns had a new ownership group. The LA Clippers had a new ownership group, right? Let's be fair. When Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, when that trade was made for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to this day, Steve Ballmer's talked about it. Several NBA guys like Kenny Smith, people I actually respect, they say that was a bad trade. No one says it's a new ownership group. No one owes loyalty.
That's not my point. That's an
I'm
irrelevant
not
point.
saying that's your point. My point is the player cannot hold up his progression based off new owners. That's all I'm saying. You can't do that. That's not realistic because the reality is this. I'm not saying you're wrong in them being new. They are new. I do respect that. This is year 2 of their situation. I respect everything you're saying. The problem is you're dealing with a player who's dealt with multiple injuries. Now, you're potentially on the injury chart once again. I'm not saying it's serious. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping he goes tonight. But how long can you say, even with the new ownership group, respect, I get it. They inherited Cody. They inherited Terry Rozier when they came in, and all of these guys. but there still were moves that could have been made this year. And I'm not talking about to be a contender. I'm saying to the point where at least you can sub your guy out and get him rest, and the team doesn't look like an absolute disaster. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
No,
saying.
are you blaming them for the injuries?
No, not for the injuries, because I don't think the injuries are impacting the way you look overall. I think they're impacting
Yes, it is.
if you can
Because
win
the
a game.
guys you're complaining about are only playing because of injuries.
No, that's a lie. That's a lie. Once
Diabate
again,
would never be playing if you had a healthy roster.
Diabate would be playing the 4. He's gonna play the 4. He's gonna
No,
have to
no.
play the 4.
If there's a healthy roster, he's not touching the floor.
Mike, who is your backup 4, bro? I said this to you in the preseason. I told you this in the preseason. So this isn't new. I said we don't have any length whatsoever at the 4 position. I said you're playing Mike, and you're playing Mark, and you're playing Grant Williams
Diabate playing 5.
because of the injuries. But what I'm saying to you, even if Mark was there, you still would be undersized at your forward positions. Cody is your.
My point to you, if Mark was there, Diabate's not playing.
Yeah, but that's not the issue that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the issue of the length and the 3 and the 4. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not even ragging on Diabate, because like you said, he's doing what he can do. You know what I'm saying? You can't ask a guy to be more than that. That's not the issue. The issue is you don't have 3 and Ds at these 3 and 4 position. And I'm not talking about lockdown guys. I'm talking about, once again, guys, when you sub out, even if you're healthy, when you sub out, okay, this guy can give us 10 minutes here and there, 15 minutes here and there, get us some rebounds. We don't have that. And that was available this summer. That's been available. We have draft picks now. That was available. That's all I'm saying. I'm not even talking about the injuries that are affecting winning. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, and me and you both said this the other day, Mike, it is to the point when you sub Lamelo out or you sub certain guys out, you're just like, damn, bro, like this looks like summer league. That's all I'm saying. I'm not even talking about winning the game. I'm saying you got to be able to get this guy here a spell for 5 minutes. You got to be able to sit him down, like even a night. If this is an injury, you would like for him to be able to rest tonight. But you know you can't do that because it's opening night. No one told you to keep Micic. No one told you to do that.
Hold up. No, we're not doing this right now because everyone was cool with him as the backup.
I'm not talking about me. I was team Micic. But there was also people saying, including myself, Dennis Smith Jr.'s in Charlotte. You don't remember me saying that, Mike? Did I not say that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not jumping off the bandwagon and saying I didn't say that, but these are competent small moves that can be made. That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking to be a contender and we got our finished depth chart. I'm showing you a bottom of the league team that has a better rotation than we do. This is year 2 of your ownership.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Oh, you tripping.
I don't agree with that.
You're tripping. Have you watched the Detroit Pistons? A full game.
Yes.
Bro, they're
0-2.
They have a better, but they played difficult games. Those weren't easy games. They played Cleveland, which is a good team, and they played Indiana, and they lost in the last seconds. That's
Indiana's ass.
So their ass? You feel like Indiana's ass?
No, I'm going hard on that one.
Okay, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
But you ain't see the Rockets beat the brakes out the Grizzlies?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I think the Rockets are a good team. I ain't never think the Rockets were a bad team. I think you just had a player that was special that night. But what I'm saying is, and I think you agree with me on this, he's not going to be special like that every night and cut your margins every night. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes guys are going to get hurt. Sometimes guys, the threes aren't going to fall. So I feel like last night it was just a situation where, the fouls caught up with him. The turnovers caught up because of the lack of personnel and some bad decisions by him. So no, I don't think the Rockets are a bad team. I just think we're asking, and this is my problem with Charlotte, period. This ownership group or that ownership group, and they can prove me wrong. You ask your star to cover up your shit too much. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's a lot to ask just for serviceable, not home run hits. I'm not saying go get Brandon Ingram. just serviceable guys on the depth chart. To the point, to your credit, Mike, Micic is unplayable. You can't go to KJ Simpson right now. He got to go develop. You know what I'm saying? He got to go get some Greensboro minutes. He's not there yet. So realistically, if LaMelo don't play tonight, what does this look like?
Okay, but so like this, what you just said right there, let's think about that. You think in the middle of the summer, you're thinking about, okay, in game 3, I'm going to have no LaMelo, no Brandon Miller, no Mark Williams, no Cody Martin. You can't plan for that. You're being unreasonable at this point.
All right, Mike, I'm going to pull up another roster. Go ahead, keep talking.
There was at the time, it was a good assumption to make or a fair assumption to make that Micic was a competent backup who could spell LaMelo and get his minutes on the floor. That has not been true. Okay. Now, if they persist with Micic the entire year, yes, you can blame them for that. But realistically, the windows they've had to make moves, they've made moves. So we were all just blown away what they made at the trade deadline, because that was their first time saying, all right, man, like, this is us now. We got this. We're doing this now. We're pulling the trigger. That's a major move. Now you got these pieces back, and I don't know how you think they can just flip these pieces that you don't like, and you think other teams are going to give up 3-and-D players for players that you don't like already. Okay, so it's like it's not they can just snap their fingers and you get these great players. Everyone wants those players.
But I never said great players, Mike. I'm not asking for great players, but go ahead.
I don't think you're being fair. The roster they have on paper is good enough to compete with 80% of the East, night in and night out. That I have no doubt about. Now, if it's just depleted, that's an issue. If you're going to make the argument that you have too many injury-prone players, that's a fair argument. You can talk about that. But as of right now, I don't see this roster being like diabolically bad like it was last year. Okay, that's a different thing. But this year, they have a roster to compete when healthy with anybody. I mean, anyone not named the contenders.
I can pull up, locked in on Charlotte Hornets podcast, going back to June, where me, you, and Unoriginal were saying they're too guard heavy. Like, I can literally pull that up, where I'm saying the same thing that I'm saying now, that it's obvious that we don't have length. I'm not saying...
Who are you going to move?
I mean, I don't know if it's a who you're going to move thing versus a who you're going to move with picks. And to be honest with you, I'm going back to saying what I'm saying. I really think the wait and see is a wait and see if we can get to the lottery. I don't think they're playing for the lottery. That's not what I'm saying. I think it's a 50-50 thing of if we do get injured, because they do have to know, okay, these guys are coming off injury. We're waiting for Mark to come off injury. LaMelo's coming off of injury. You look at his frame, and you look at his usage rate, and you look at his whistle, and you say to yourself, come on, bro, that guy's not gonna keep holding up to the kind of nights he's taking. So you would rather bet on, I can go get a Dorian Finney-Smith. And I'm just throwing out a name, right? Because there's someone you can get. Because I'm tired of hearing this. I've been hearing this for 5 years. I've heard this for 5 years, bro. Charlotte, who are they going to get? So how does every other team in the league get someone, bro? You go and do your job. That's what you do. But like I said, I know for a fact that Jermaine ain't listening to that shit, bro. Because it's year 5, bro. You can't continue to do this. You can't do it. It's inexcusable. Now, it is unfair to this ownership group. I will give you that, because they did inherit a lot of trash. And I do like the moves they made at the trade deadlines. The problems with the moves that I didn't like, and I spoke on them this summer. I said, why are we getting rid of Bertrands? I understand the cap number. I get it. But that's a lot of length, bro. Sometimes length is just there to be length.
No.
Bro,
he's
telling me.
He's length and name on.
Running four guards against the Atlanta Hawks.
I don't care how tall he is. He sucks at defense. Bro, it's length just for the sake of length.
So you seen defense out there last night that's better than that?
Then Davis Bertans? Yes.
No, you didn't, bro.
Yes,
you were running for Cody Martin. And I watched Cody Martin 3 times straight get his ass cooked. Mike, stop. You're capping now, bro. You're capping now. There's no defense on that court. There's effort on that court. There's guys that's playing.
Those are two separate questions.
No, it's not. They
Is it
play
no
the same position.
Is
Length
okay.
can be better for you defensively than a statue. That's what I'm saying. And a guy that can shoot the three at a high clip.
So you're saying yesterday the defense was ass, correct?
Yeah, come on.
Okay. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
So you're telling me though, you add Bertans, it's not ass anymore?
No.
Those are two separate
I was
questions.
never building them. First off, the philosophy is different. What I'm saying is, you want a 6'10" guy contesting a shot versus a 5'.
6'10" means fucking nothing.
Yes, it does, Mike. So shot
No, it
contesting
doesn't.
Shot contesting don't mean nothing. You said
Why is
that
he not
with
in
a
the
straight
league?
face.
How does a 6'10" do with the strap in the league anymore?
Bro, contesting shot. Bro, Kevin Durant is one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen. We've seen times where he's affected by somebody contesting a shot. That's all I'm saying. And if you got a guy, you're asking a guy, even with Steph Curry, I think it's unfair to Steph Curry for Steph Curry to constantly be guarding wings, bro. Like, come on, let's be real. Let's be real.
Okay, so
that's all.
Then trade Seth Curry. Trade Seth Curry.
Right. Well, I don't think you can get
for a taller wing.
Yeah.
And that's my point right there.
Yeah,
you're asking for stuff that's it's like
no.
You're getting mad about Seth Curry. But like, what do you want to do?
I didn't say trade Seth Curry. That's what you said. I said you have picks. You have picks.
So I keep jumping to solutions. Yeah. You're hearing problems. I'm getting solutions.
You would have to move one of your young pieces with picks. That's all I'm saying, Mike. That's all I'm saying. That's a solution. You didn't even have to go that far to wait to this point. If we could see what they said on the broadcast last night, which is, this is a guard-heavy unit. If it's a guard-heavy unit, we knew this coming into the season, even if we're healthy. So let's solidify our back end, not with stars. I'm not saying that. Not with guys that are outstanding players. Let's just get some guys that are good at doing what they do, which is utility minutes, hustling for the basketball, creating length, so that when our star player goes to the bench or Brandon Miller is out, the bottom doesn't fall out. So now when these guys are coming back, they're not asserting themselves to the point where they're re-injuring themselves. That's all I'm asking. Like, for instance, I'm going to ask you a question. You can be honest. I respect your opinion. Did you not like Bryce McGowan for what he did coming off the bench? And I'm just asking, like, honestly, because he's on a two-way right now.
I don't see him as answering anything right now.
Okay. I respect.
He's just a guy. I'm not saying he's bad or anything, but like, at no point am I losing sleep. Like, man, if I had McGowan right now, it'd be different right now. It wouldn't be different. It'd be the same thing. You'd be frustrated with him because he's a young defender. He's gonna get a lot of fouls too. I think your focus is too narrow, and you're too locked in on this week and the team and the here and the now. And the ownership group, love it or not, they're not looking at it like that. They are looking at this on a longer time frame. You make the arguments that Dalton Connect and Bazelis is better than TJ. Can't argue with that at all. Okay, but if you're not thinking about I need a player for this season right now, which they're not, you make a pick like TJ. And whether that's right or wrong, we won't know until there's more time to elapse. But as of right now, it's incomplete. We can't assess whether it's like, yes, Dalton Connect would make us win more right now, but that doesn't mean it's going to win more a year from now, right? We don't know that. So you have to let that play out. You can't panic the first quarter in that like let's say we're maybe have a year play out. You can't panic in the first 3 months, but man, it's not working, whatever. It's like you have to give it that time. And again, when I look at this roster, I see a roster that can make the playoffs. You don't have to agree with that, but I still see a roster with a roster to make the playoffs if LaMelo plays like this, and you get Brandon Miller. Like, we still haven't had a game where everyone's clicking right now. You got Miles at 27 last night. Looked more like the old Miles, but there's no B Mill. Trae Young is his probably first like somewhat shaky game. He didn't play bad, but he didn't excel like he normally does, right? Lamelo was hitting his threes, but he couldn't couldn't hit none of his layups. He was like 1 for 6 on layups. So like, it's just that the team hasn't clicked. That's going to take time. Now I'm not telling you you have to give us 3 years and let it play. That's not. I'm telling you, but you still don't know for a fact what you have yet. And so to me, the idea that you're going to burn some picks to bring in some rotational guys for right now, it's short sighted. It's too risky because you still don't know what you have in this team.
I mean, I agree with you to a certain extent. Because I'm listening to what you're saying, and I see what OKC did. The difference between you and OKC though is OKC drafted better. They didn't draft Tajon. That's the difference. They did draft Dalton Connect. That's how you got Jalen Williams. They're the same kind of guy. They're the same kind of model. So that's my only difference. I do see what you're saying about the picks, but I mean it's a give or take type deal, bro. It's a give or take type deal because I think the reason why I'm short sighted is because, like you said, the former regime left so much damage to be cleaned up. Your timelines are not exactly matching up. You know what I'm saying? Because you're saying, give me time, give me time, give me time. But what if your timeline is not on? It's obvious who the centerpiece is now. Like the league is starting to actually see who the centerpiece is. So what if your centerpiece is just tired of waiting? And that happens all the time in this league. New owners come, they sell this bullshit, and then the star player says, year 7, hey, bro, I'm not on this timeline, bro. My knee hurts. We got it going on with Embiid in Philly right now, where he doesn't want to play back-to-backs because he feels like he's burnt his body down for whatever reason. So I'm just saying, I do agree. To be fair, we haven't got to see this team at full strength. And I think Brandon Miller and LaMelo's length in the backcourt together, it makes up for a lot of deficiencies. But that's the problem. With the injury situation, and you got to kind of plan for that, but you can't know for sure. As soon as one of those guys go out, and this is what I was saying, if LaMelo went out and Brandon Miller was there, you're still kind of screwed. You know what I'm saying? You would like, hopefully, and I hope KJ can develop into this one day, someone serviceable enough to be like a Tyus Jones, to be like a Trae Jones, where all their job is to be scrappy, you know what I'm saying, run the offense, get this guy the ball. It's time for the Hornets to start producing guys like that. And if you can't produce them, it's okay. Tim Hardaway Jr. was a big-ass free agent that you could have went and got. He's not making buku money. This isn't hard. The Detroit Pistons aren't going to win a championship this year. They just said he's a respectable NBA player. He can give us respectable minutes. To me in Charlotte, it's always, let's wait and see with these projects. Why? We don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's all I'm saying. Now, this could work because I think KJ is going to be a good player. I just think he needs to be in Greensboro a little bit this year to develop. But let's move on from that right now. Let's go into this Miami Heat game. And I do agree with you, man. LaMelo's finishing at the rim. It's like he'll have a night where he's finishing at the rim great, which is Houston. But he's not shooting the 3-ball well. But then he'll have a night like last night where he's shooting the 3-ball at a savant level, but the shots around the rim aren't falling. You said something on Spaces last night about LaMelo leaving a lot of meat on the bone. Could you expound upon what you were saying before we go to the Miami Heat?
So in terms of if you contrast him with Trae Young, I think Trae Young right now gets the most at what he has. Where LaMelo, I still think there's a lot of untapped potential there, just because he kind of I think lacks consistency. So to me, the big difference between Trae Young and him is that Trae always has a plan. I think he's better at setting up picks. So he's patient and he's waiting for the screensaver to get to a certain point to where he's either going to use it or reject it. And so he's reading that while he's reading his defender at the same time. And it's very formulaic. And so if you do X, he does Y. If you do C, he does B. So he's doing that. Once he gets in the lane, he's very clear. I'm either getting to this spot to get to my floater, or I'm throwing to the big. But he's looking at certain points and certain triggers to make those plays. and so he can just do that the entire time. And then the last part with this game that like kind of ties all together is because he has a plan and he's reading you, and he knows you're reading him. He can also start getting you on these foul calls because he knows you're trying to. If you don't take this extra step, you can't get to my floater. So you have to push up over that. So as soon as you do that, now I'm throwing my thing up and I'm getting my calls. So like he is good at getting a foul call, but it's because he's orchestrating the entire thing. He's setting it up. Whereas what I think with Lamelo, a lot of it is the play starts in motion, and then he just is freestyling and feeling his way through it, and turning water into wine type deal. Um, and more often than not, it works out. But then you do go through stretches where it doesn't work out. And he's taking shots where he's being forced into certain finishes, right? Like I feel a lot of times with Trae, you ever feel like he's forced to take a layup? He had a couple last game was actually frustrating where he got caught in between and like travel. They just don't call it whatever. But for the most part, though, you can see when he's playing, he's very clear what he's trying to do. With Lamelo, it feels like a lot of times every not every possession, but he's like treating every possession like it's brand new, and I'm gonna see what's going to happen. Um, and you saw it in the kind of slow start because you weren't getting a lot of clean looks from the Hawks. They were flying around, they're switching. Every guy switching looks the same. They're all 6'8", 6'9", with long arms. Um, and so it might take you a second for your brain to kind of calm down and realize where it's coming from. But when I talk about Lamelo not leaving meat on the bones, it's just mastering your game, understanding what I can and can't do in every situation, every spot on the floor, and just doing that over and over and over again. Um, and I don't expect that from him at this time, but when he gets that process, I think you will start seeing him just be a lot more not efficient, but it'll look more like Trae, where it's a simple read over and over and over again, where he's not trying to still sauce people up. So, I mean, even right now, he's not. I don't think that's his focus. He's still playing, seeing what he can do on people. He's not just saying like I'm trying to get the same shot over and over and over and over and over again. He's trying to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. That's one thing when I watch Ant and Trey. I'm gonna keep it real. Um, First off, Mike, let me say this, and you about to be like, "Whoa, Ant is a problem," but he's a problem. It's not what the box score shows. You know what I'm saying? Ant is like that. He knows what he wants to do. He freestyles like Lamelo. You got the handle, but the stage is set for them to do what they do, and they know what to do. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of consistency to Ant's game. You can look at Ant's game, and you're like, yo, next two possessions, Ant's coming down, and he's gonna run this set. You know what I'm saying? Trey to me has mastered, like you said, he gets every drop out of that orange. He gets every drop out of that orange. LaMelo, the only time I've seen him play that way was that stretch last year. But it's because of, I think it's more so the offense that Steve Clifford was running. They were running horns for the first time. They were running a lot of those sets where that was the first time I started seeing LaMelo get around a pick, get a guy on his back, go lay the ball up. I'm not seeing a lot of that action this year, and I understand why, because Charles Lee built this offense with Brandon Miller in mind. So if you got those two guys on the court, you're not really running that because you want to keep the floor spaced. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to unbalance one side of the court. You don't want to just turn Brandon Miller just to a spot up shooter. So I think some of this is offensive identity. And like I said, I'm not ragging on Charles because of that, because this is the second game, and he's not working with all his pieces. And I think, like he said at the beginning of the season, the offense is still being installed. But I do agree, LaMelo does leave some meat on the bone. And I've studied and studied and studied, and I've found his one weakness, bro. Like, he does have one weakness. And I'm not going to talk about it publicly, but I'm hoping he's working on it. And like you said, Mike, it's coming with time. What Trae is, he came out 2 years earlier than Melo.
Mm-hmm.
2 years earlier, so he got some time. He got some time to learn, but he does leave a lot of meat on the bone. Um, right now, I think the handoff offense is probably better suited for us because I saw Miles really benefit from that last night. I saw some of the shooters benefit from that. As much as I like the pick and roll offense, and I think that's the standard for elite guard play in the league right now. I don't think we have the personnel to do that, and I think a lot of those turnovers is because teams know you can't get hurt on the road. So now you're getting caught. Like Trae got caught twice in low man's land last night, but Trae plays at a different speed. So even if he travels, I think the officials have it where he's so masterful out of the pick and roll. It's like they hesitate to call that because they like, he knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So I think it's like that. Like LaMelo gets away with some calls that other guys might get called carried for. Anthony Edwards in Sacramento the other night. He did a similar move they called carry because there's something new that Ant's doing. But LaMelo does this every game. So the refs are used to that. So I think some of that is going on. But as far as leaving meat on the bone, I think that's the small margin between winning a game like last night and losing a game like last night. Because in Houston, he only had 2 turnovers. And even though he wasn't hitting the 3, he was a lot more controlled. His lobs were on point. His down court pass was on point. Last night, he was making passes that we've seen LaMelo make in his sleep. They were just a little off. The timing was a little off. So hopefully if he plays tonight, Miami's going to make you slow it down. So, hopefully he gets back to basis. Talk about Trae Mann a little bit real quick. Why do you think he struggled a bit last night? He didn't have a bad game at all. But like you said, he did, for the first time, run up against some resistance, especially on his counter moves. What do you attribute that to? I know the Hawks have great defenders, but do you think it was spacing or just one of those nights?
I mean, I think it's not that complicated. It's what you're talking about. It's the Hawks defense is long and they can switch a lot. We're not that great at setting screens, so you don't really get a lot of clean, obvious looks. And to me, that's like the biggest thing. Like, kind of going back to that last conversation we had about Lee meeting the bones. It's like when you watch like a Halliburton, and he's like almost the polar opposite to where he's always just running the offense and taking what the defense gives him, right? So like, for instance, he'll get a screen coming and he'll just use it, draw the help defender, and then move the ball, and then he'll be done with the play, right? So it's a quote unquote right play to make. But he'll just do that the entire time. He'll do it over and over and over and over and over again. And certain games he'll score a lot of that. Other times though, he can just he's not really doing much. But the problem with that though is when you start doing that, you start making the quote unquote right play, and then the ball keeps going to a dead end, doesn't do anything anymore. You realize you can't just keep doing. You don't have that luxury. You have to force the action. You have to make something happen, right? So you don't have the luxury of just playing within the offense of just let it come to you. You don't have the option of passing to a competent role man who can really play above the rim and finish everything, or hit him on the short roll and make him pay. Like, you don't have that. So you're constantly forced to take more and more risk. And when that happens, you're going to have certain games where you're going to have an explosion of turnovers. Like yesterday, he had a lot. He had 10. You saw the same thing with the Pistons with Cade. He had 9. Right? Like, you put the ball in someone's hands, but when you're forcing a ball handler to constantly make decisions and make something happen, it's unpredictable. You can't control everything. If you're just relying on yourself to make the read in the split second, it's a lot of pressure. And the good players can't do it. And the thing that makes players like LaMelo special, or like Ant special, is when they need to, they can deviate and not just take what the defense gives them. They can just take whatever they want, and that's the difference. People that like Halliburton and Brunson, they are much better at exploiting just what the defense gives them. But when you start forcing people to on their own without some set structure in front of them, that's what starts getting shaky. And to me, that's what separates really the truly elite people to just the good people, is the ones who can run the system, but when they need to, they can deviate and freestyle. And that's the stuff you just can't guard, because you can force them into the quote unquote bad shot or the right play, whatever. They're still going to make it. You can play a perfect defense. It's not going to matter. I don't want to go on a tangent right now, but like that's probably the main issue I have with people who overrate defense is that even the best defense is not going to stop a special player. So it's like we glorify the Josh Greens and the Cody Martins acting like their ability to quote unquote stop somebody is more valuable than someone like Trae not being able to be stopped. Right? To me, it's a false it's a false equivalency. And so I would take any theoretical lesser defense from Trae um, because his ability to score imposes himself on the other team more than Cody or Josh Green's defense does.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Because Dyson Daniels was giving Lamelo fits in that first quarter, and Lamelo started to download it, which is unbelievable. And this second team that's done this. They're playing him to drive. They don't want him to drive. I mean, they're playing him to shoot the three. They don't want him to drive. So every time he would give him a hard jab step, they were flying. You know what I'm saying? And they were daring him to shoot the three. And if he has a year where teams dare him to shoot the three, he's gonna light him up, man. Because that his three ball, I figured it out, man. It's not like technically sound, but his three ball is like a floater for him. The way he shoots it, the touch on it is really like a floater. I want to move to Miles Bridges, man, because that's the Miles Bridges I think we both been waiting to see. To go to your earlier point of the season coming together, I think the thing that they have to figure out is how to get all three of those guys going on the same night. Because the way Miles was being played yesterday, like even the sets he was running out of, were a lot different than the first game, which lets me know he was really playing more of a small forward that first night. Like the sets he was running, it didn't really look like power forward action. And last night was more of a, as crazy as it sounds, he was like a de facto two guard. You know what I'm saying? He did a lot of handling the ball, a lot of out on that left wing. But a lot of the motions where he did get some rubs, he was going downhill. I don't think we have to eliminate that when Brandon Miller comes back, especially if we already got guys like LaMelo setting screens. You know, if you're going to have them setting screens, you might as well give Miles some rub action. What did you see from Miles offensively last night that gives you hope and makes you say maybe he's getting his legs back, maybe he might be finding his place, even though we know Brandon Miller and Mark Williams is out?
He looked more comfortable. Even the shots he took, I don't think he took any shots where like that come to my mind. Where I was like, damn, Miles, like you forced that. You felt like you felt obligated to shoot that. Like it felt like he took good shots. He got downhill. Um, and to me, there's a feeling out point because we can say things. We can say, you know, I'm happy to have this role. I'm happy to be the third guy, right? You can say that LaMelo is my number one scorer and this is my second option. You can say all this type of stuff, right? But then you actually have to put it into practice, and people have to believe it, and they have to feel it, and then everyone else has to see it also as well, right? And so, someone like Miles, who I believe that he's trying to buy into this role you're giving him, and it's even though it's not natural for him, because he's had a lot of success with the Hornets already, and so you're asking him to ignore certain things he's been doing to be something new, and it looks like he's trying his hardest to do that. But in that process, you start realizing that, like, yes, I do need to fill that role that you're asking me to do, parts of that. But at the same time, I need to keep doing me and being me. And I need to know how to do that with someone like Brandon LaMelo. Because, I mean, you see it all the time, like an all-star team, or if you've ever played on a team, like a pickup team with too much talent, right? Where it's like you walk in the gym, you got four of the five best players in the gym on one team. And then what happens, right? No one's being aggressive, no one's being assertive, they're all deferring, they're all passing too much. It's kind of wild. Then the one dude by himself is cooking because his mind's clear. I'm playing with a bunch of backup singers right now, so I'm doing whatever I want right now and doing that type of stuff. And so molding in talented players is not as easy as just boom, it's just right there. Even throwing in Brandon again, it's more complicated because he had a lot of reps without LaMelo last season where he had success from. So how much of that, and so if I'm him, how much is that was because Melo was gone, and how much of that can I still do with Melo with me?
I don't know that yet. So we're still playing that out. And so yesterday I thought Miles did look more comfortable because it was more clear. He wasn't worried about, am I the third option? Am I the fourth guy? It was like, this team needs help, and I'm gonna give it to you. Like you said, he started basically playing some two guard, which speaks to like the how poorly we were last game in terms of like competent ball handlers. He needed to kind of fill that role. So it's kind of why like I'm not telling you again to give it years. I'm not saying you need to give it all year. I don't know if it's going to take a week or 2 weeks or a month, but I'm thinking at least by December, these kinks should be ironed out. And if they're not ironed out, then I think it's more of a problem. Okay, we need to start making some moves, not between Miles, Brandon, and Melo, but the kind of pieces around them. And like the last thing I'll say about that too is that like in terms of like the guys on offense, like Lamelo on offense, it's also hard to play with a new team, a new lineups, because your assumptions change and because of what people can do around you can change. And so when you're playing with the set lineup and the set rotations for a while, it becomes second nature. You understand where guys like catching the ball. Because a lot of guys they'll be hiding. They don't want like they might be coming off the screen, but they don't really like that angle of that side, so they're not really trying to get open that much. Um, and so you kind of know that as a player, okay, he's come off the screen, but he ain't really serious about that. But I know the slip's going to be there. Where your brain starts going the next step by step, because you understand your lineups. But right now, when it's still constantly changing and you're going deep in the bench, it's hard for people to kind of track that. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time for the chemistry to build. Uh, but it shouldn't take more than a month if everyone's healthy.
No, that's a great point, man. Look, that's one of the main things, the chemistry. The chemistry, like we've never really got to see the chemistry just between those three. And that's what makes Mark's position so valuable, because even if you get the chemistry with those three, with the way that they play, if you don't have an anchor on that back end, you still don't know what you got. You know what I'm saying? Because then it'll become, damn, you got an offensive juggernaut. But, you know what I'm saying? So, man, got to get some guys back here. But when we were talking, I just thought of a very attractive lineup, and I want to make sure I clarify. I'm not saying T. John's going to be a bad player. I think T. John's going to be very good. I think he's got a hunger in his eyes. I think he's got a dedication, and I do think he fits in this league. But I don't know. I don't know with what the Hornets are trying to do. If I would have rathered a 3-and-D 4 versus a scoring 4. And I don't know what he's going to turn out being, but to me, he's got a lot of stuff that I like offensively. I don't know if I want him bogged down that way. But with that being said, a lineup that is attractive in the future, later on in this season, that I would like to see explored. Because Miles just seems bogged down at the 4. I would love to see a lineup of LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Miles to John, and if Mark ever gets back, Mark. I would be very interested to see, because I hope John's not playing strictly the 5. I think he's just playing it utility-wise right now because they're hurt. Hell, I would like to see that with Nick, too. You know what I'm saying? But moving into the last segment of the show, we got the Miami Heat coming up. I'm going to say this. If LaMelo is hurt tonight, they'll have 3 nights off, 3 days off after this. Hopefully he will be able to come back by Toronto. But if he's out any extended period of time, I think you do have to start taking a long, deep breath and saying to yourself, is the lottery in our future? And if the lottery is in, bro, because the basketball you're going to see is going to be unwatchable. It's unwatchable, bro. Like, when any of those guys go out, it's tough, man. And it's not the starting unit per se, because, like I said, even last night, Miles and LaMelo made up a lot of ground, bro. The game got respectable as it went on. But then one of those guys got to go sit down. You know what I'm saying? And once that happens, you're counting the minutes on the TV like, yo, when is he coming back in? But But tonight you got a fully healthy Miami Heat. It's hard to preview this one, Mike. You got a fully healthy Miami Heat team. Jaime Jaquez Jr.'s back. Tyler Hero's back. And just another long athletic team at every NBA position other than point guard with Terry. And I'm not saying we can't win if LaMelo plays, but it's going to be an uphill battle. I said push it, but Mike's got me thinking about that pushing it. Man, maybe that's not with all that length on the court, because what I'm seeing when I break down the game, just with how I think as a guard, a lot of those turnovers are happening. Mike, and you tell me if you see this, because I'm sure you played on teams like this. A lot of guys they don't want to come get that ball, bro. a lot of guys is like, I didn't sign up for this. Like Seth has moments where he's like, like they got him running up top. He's 32 now. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that, guys are picking up their dribble. The option ain't there. They pivoting, and time is going down, so they making a pass because nobody's coming to the ball. And I saw some people being hard on Grant Williams. Grant Williams is coming to get the ball, but that's not his game. So somebody got to do it. So Grant's coming to get the ball. He's trying to make something happen. He's falling down, but that's not his game. So tonight we're going to face that same kind of defense with the Heat, bro. That's what the Heat do. They're going to push you out when you first cross half court. Once you get into your set, they're going to sag off. They're going to keep a high defender. They're going to let Bam Adebayo roam around. And you just got to hope your threes are falling. If your threes are falling against Miami, you got a chance. But if you think of you going down there in that paint against that zone, they're going to get stops. They're going to get the ball out. They're going to get into their offense. Y'all know Jimmy's going to get to the free throw line. Bam's going to do his thing because Nick's going to be guarding Bam. And Seth's going to be guarding Jovic. So it's good. Hey, man, we just got to go out there and roll the ball out there and see what happens, man. And just know we're not at our full strength right now. Mike, give us a preview of this game. Give us something to look forward to in this game if Melo plays. What are you looking to see? Are you looking at individual performances, or what are you looking at tonight?
Well, I'll be real with you. I'm still not sold on this Heat team. I think I got respect.
I'm not mad at that.
I got respect for Spo, and that's what's making me, hesitate what I'm saying. But when I'm seeing that team, I see a flawed roster that is going nowhere. Maybe I'll eat those words, but that's kind of how I've been feeling.
What's your problems with the roster? Give me some of your highlights.
I think at this point Butler is a negative. He can't. His highs are extremely high, but he can't sustain that over a long period of time. And yeah, regular season such early in the season, I don't trust him right now. I don't trust him. Bam's going to eat. He's someone I'm worried about. But Tyler Hero, I'm not really worried about that dude. He's also a food on defense. So they got that Heat culture, so you can't write them off. But I don't see that team being this juggernaut or being. I think they're in the mix with everybody else. There's probably 3 teams in the East that are in a different tier, and everyone else, they're all in this one big mosh pit where there's going to be no easy games, and it's going to be a dogfight. But I mean, if Melo's not playing, it's going to be ugly. But if he's playing, I think you got a chance. I'm not just saying to gas or anything like that, but this type of East, this type of where my view, all these teams are very even. This is the time where players make the difference. Those last 2 games, Houston and against the Hawks, those were games where in the last 5 minutes the star players could decide who won that game, or the coach. That's also the thing. Good coaching is going to be valuable in seasons like this because it's pretty close. Sixers could be ugly. This is a tangent. Sixers could be ugly if Embiid and Paul George are in and out the whole season because they're super top heavy. If you think the Hornets roster is bad, look at them, right? They're starting to Martin.
I agree.
Um, but the Heat didn't play last night, huh? They've been resting.
Yeah, they've been resting. But hold on, Mike. I do agree with you. I smell something off with this Heat team. I don't think Jimmy wants to be there. I was on a Miami Heat podcast about a week and a half ago, and there's a lot of rumors circulating. And just the way they got blasted by the Magic, bro. Like, they lost to Cade in Detroit game 1 last year. But that was a buzzer beater. That game against Orlando, something is off. You know what I'm saying? And I can't figure out what it is. I don't know if it's just Jimmy's just not asserting himself. I do agree he's not the same player, but something is just off about the Heat. But the Hornets are usually a get right game. I'm gonna be honest. Like, this is a team you can get right on, especially historically. I'm not gonna say now, but coming off rest, I think this is an opportunity for them. And what I'm seeing that gives any team with adequate length is just you're asking too much. You're asking Seth Curry to backside rebound. You know what I mean? Like, unless we're gonna switch up the starting lineup, and I think Trae Mann, if he's ever gonna start with Cody out, with some other guys potentially out, who the hell else are you gonna start? So I think tonight might be the night, if any night, if it's gonna happen. But yeah, I think we got a shot if Lamelo plays. I do think we have a shot. If he don't play, Mike, I don't even know if I'm watching the game. Go ahead, Mike.
So one thing that hit me yesterday, when Lamelo got those early fouls in the first half, he got him basically from chasing around screens, right? And there's been this big push and talk about defense, right? Fans love talking about defense. But when they do that, they pretend that there's no cost to playing defense. Like they act like you can play 100% offense and still 100% defense. It doesn't work that way. You know, if you're telling people about the offense, improve defense, that's one thing. But they're acting like you're just choosing not to play defense, right? And they're also acting like there's not a downside to that, to where you're asking like your star guard Lamelo to chase around Trae Young because it's on some macho stuff. You got to guard the best player type deal. But then when they're deliberately trying to run him off screens in order to get him fouls, you have to start thinking a little smarter than that. It can't just be defense, defense, defense. You got to be a little more strategic about that, right? Do I really want Lamelo running around and chasing around 20 screens a game? No, I don't. As an opposing coach, I do want that to happen. Okay, and so you're over here rah-rahing and wanting him to do things that are playing in other teams' hands. So I'm not saying you don't. I'm not telling him not to play good defense, but it can't just be balls to the wall. He's running through this screen after screen, getting tired and having to shake off these fouls. You're gonna get those fouls that way. It's just this is what it is. And like I said, I can see with the Hawks, that was a plan for them to do. They were trying to wear him out and get him to pick up fouls. And you saw at the end there when Trae Young put up the 6 fouls when he fouled out. Like, that was a game plan. They were desperately trying to get him out of there that way. So it's one thing that we need to start thinking more about. And I think you have seen the rhetoric on the defense dial back a little bit, because it sounds great, it sells tickets, but it's not real.
Somebody else I want to talk about, because I saw some negative comments about this guy, but I liked what the hell I saw from Josh Green. I'm not talking about defensively, because I do agree he was a step slow. He ain't all the way back. But offensively, some people were being critical of him. If Josh Green can give me a little bit more of that, I'm not expecting much from Josh. You know what I'm saying? One dribble pull-ups. He went to the baseline, got a nice up and under, corner 3, was attacking the board. I was happy with what I saw with Josh. My only thing is, I think the minutes that Cody's getting, let's split that between Josh and let's split that between Nick Smith Jr. Like I would rather see those guys out there than Cody, because as hard as I've been on Cody, as banging as I've been on Cody, and I bang on Cody because his mentality. Because I've been on teams on lower levels where I know I can get away with something, or guys know they can get away with something, so they do that here. You know what I'm saying? And if you're really rebuilding a culture, it's your coach, it's his job, and I don't know if he's doing it. Hey, if you want to stay in this league, this is what you got to do, man. You know what I'm saying? Be the best at being what you are. You know what I'm saying? We may need you to hit a clutch shot, but we need you to be this guy for this team. It's about the team, and I don't see that in Cody, bro. Like I don't see this team guy that's diving on the floor for balls. I've never really known him for that. But now, with that being said, I don't think Cody Martin's healthy because some of the stuff that Cody is doing, man. Like I know how it is to be injured and you want to go get a ball, but you like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like it's too many moments. Even defensively, what I was talking about with Mike. I'm not bagging on Cody for getting beat baseline. That's cool. It can happen. What I'm bagging on Cody about is if you're an elite defender, you at least know plant this foot right here. I'd rather you get the foul trying to set a charge than you just not. He not even making the effort. So to me, I'm saying, nah, something ain't right with Buddy. Cody used to shoot threes. He wasn't hitting all of them. I'm not pretending like he was, but it was a confident stroke. He would shoot it. Like when he hit that one leg shot on KD. When Cody shoots, I want y'all to go back and look at that three he missed in the fourth. He hit a big three, and then when he got the ball again, he hesitates. Then he shoots it, and when he shoots it, it's with a hitch. To me, that's a guy that might be injured, and maybe he's tired of fans bagging on him. Maybe he's looking at himself like, yo, next year's a team option, right? I think next year's a team option. Yeah, so he's probably saying I got to be out here right now. But I don't think Cody's 100%, bro. Cody used to be dunking. Like, he used to be fast going up the court, man. Cody just look off, man. And if he is injured, bro, we can't. It's not going to help him. It's not going to help us if we're forcing these minutes out here. Like tonight, he's hurt again. And I don't think it's the knee. I think it's like core injury or something. But, yeah, man, got to let the guy get back when he gets back. And if he can't get healthy, at the end of the season, we just got to make a decision. But, yeah, Josh Green, man, last thing. I want to get your take on Josh Green because I saw some very negative comments on Josh Green. I know what you said about him defensively, and I do agree. He's not quite there yet. But offensively, what did you see from Josh, man? Did you like what you saw from him?
I didn't really see anything. He looks. So when I say that, it's like there's like a spectrum of 1 to 10, and obviously 10's the best and 1 is like worthless, right? But actually, to me, like 5 is just like neutral. You didn't do anything good. You didn't do anything bad. You're just kind of out there. So you didn't hurt nobody, but you didn't really help anybody. And that's a little bit harsh because he was able to do his catch and shoot was fine. So that was great. But to me, he has nothing beyond the very like vanilla right now. Like he can catch and shoot an open three. He could attack and an obvious closeout and attack the rim that way. But if he were to attack a closeout and then you throw a defender at him, I don't see a second move popping out from there. Right, I don't see any will to his game, so it's very, very basic, and that's what when you're hurt. When you're hurt, you do play very within yourself, but that makes you easier to guard. And so when everybody else is flowing, that's fine. You can play that way, and it doesn't hurt you. But when you need him to make a play, you need someone to make a play. He's not there right now, and so like he just doesn't look very dangerous. Whereas like to contrast him with like a Micic looks like a negative. Like when he catches the ball, it's like a negative, right? But like when Josh Green catches the ball, it's not negative, but you're not scared by what he's going to do next. And that I think is because he is hurt.
Oh my God, bro, Micic looks so bad, bro. Like. And I know everybody's talking about offensively. I'm not even talking about offensively. I'm going to do a film session tomorrow. Do you know how many plays Micic is just standing there on defense, Mike? Like not attempting to move. Like he's like a cone. A rebound will come off 2 feet in front of him. And Micic is just looking like, where's the big? Maybe that's a European thing. I don't know. Like maybe that's a European guard thing where the big gets the rebound. I don't know what it is, but bro, like he looks historically bad. Like it's beyond the point of okay, Micic is just trying to get to Denver. Some of this is that though, because he's so out of shape, you can tell. Like you can tell when a guy has put no effort into his body. Bro. He got in the game for Melo in the first quarter. Second play, I'm on stream looking at it. He's hands on his knees, bending over like a taxi driver, bro. Like he's got to be out of the lineup, man. Like, and to the point, I would really consider, like, you know how they just have on the injury report sometimes, Mike, stepped away from the team, family, family emergency. Like he's there. He's playing that bad where he gives you nothing. There's a situation in the fourth quarter against Houston where he's telling Lamelo something, and Lamelo just looks at him like this on camera while they're at the free throw line because Meach is trying to like tell him something, and it's just like, bro, just get him out of here, bro. Just get him out of here. Anything you want to say about Meach, bro? Because I've been seeing you on Twitter, and it's been hilarious.
Get this dude out of here, man. Like, he's so bad. I'm not buying he's out of shape. I'm not buying that. Like, there's a reason why he's a 30-year-old rookie. It's because no one wanted to come bring your funky ass out of Europe, right? And what's bothering me, and this is like, think about what you're talking about, okay? He plays no defense, and he's lazy. Think about how they talk about Luka, who is elite. Okay, Luka's elite, but he plays no defense. He has a poor work ethic. He doesn't move off the ball. But there is zero stigma against European guards. None. There's no narrative about anything. Even knowing you got, who was the last EuroLeague MVP? The dude the Clippers brought over. Smoking cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and these dudes are all like one-trick ponies. Like you have a Rubio. He's a passer. That's it, right? And they gas him saying that he's some defender. I never saw that. I never saw this miraculous Ricky Rubio defending that type deal, right? But look at all these players, and they're all very one-dimensional or unathletic. They can shoot, but they can't dribble. They can dribble, but they can't shoot. They can pass, but they can't score. And I'm tired of this that there's no narrative about them being subpar. But you talk about American guards, and they get called like prima donnas, too flashy, doesn't play defense, and it's like it really shows you, man. Like a lot of this stuff, it really is fake. It's just narratives of people talking. Because you look at Micic, get that dude out the league. It would be like DMP or like injury report for me, and that parentheses it would say deported. Get this dude out the country right now. He's terrible. Ain't no one falling for that, man. There's no one that you could get on the Nuggets that would be worth it for a trade. Like, no one's trading for that dude, man. He's nothing but dead money.
Bro, he shot back-to-back fadeaway three-pointers, bro. Air balls. Like, wasn't even close. And then, like you're saying, it's not like he shot them, because I've seen guys, utility guys, shoot a bad shot, they busting ass down the court. You know what I'm saying? You don't see none of that. You don't see none of that, bro. So, KJ Simpson, man, I'm ready for G League to start so he can get some reps. And I'm thinking about the middle of the season, KJ with the team, man. KJ with the team, because what
I'll do it now.
You do it now?
Because, I mean, I'm sorry, but he's not going to be worse than Micic. Like, a young player, ask them to produce is hard, but if you ask him just to stay on your square and run the offense, don't do anything crazy, he can do that, man.
Yeah,
for small stretches.
I do believe if you would have threw, and you might call me crazy, Mike, if you would have threw KJ Simpson in that game when LaMelo got in foul trouble, I think you would have gave Trae more fits. Small guard on small guard. He's a scrappy guy. He's not going to – I haven't seen him not fight through a screen all preseason. When he was out there, he's fighting. And one of the things that Trae exploits is, like you said, space. He likes to operate in space. He can get shifty now, but that's usually on taller defenders. A lot of teams defend Trae with their backups with smaller guys. So I would have liked to see that. So hopefully we can see it later on in the future. This has been a good
Hey,
episode, man. Go ahead, Mike.
hey, hold up. Before you, speaking of shifty, that move that was going on around behind the back, uh, this dude is his speed is underrated. Um, I don't. Maybe it's new because I ain't gonna lie to you too. Like it's been shocking to me, but this year it pops. His speed and his acceleration, his quickness, it's elite. And he's someone that we've thought of it not as a great athlete because he doesn't have like a crazy bounce, or whatever. But that dude is fast as hell. His first step is crazy, and the way he can explode out of dribble movements from a standstill, it's lightning fast. Like I don't think that got talked about enough.
And man, the move itself, if you a hooper or not a hooper, go out in your driveway and try that move. That's a hard move. And like you said, to do it on a stop and start and have the awareness when a help defender is downside, not to travel or run into a charge, bro, the kid is special. I hope we get a chance to see him play tonight. I hope it's for Charlotte, man. Because, bro, how many people bought tickets tonight? And then y'all, oh, bro, that'll be sad, bro. But it is what it is, man. It's been a good episode, man. We had some spirited debates. Mike said what he said. I said what he said. I said what I said. And honestly, believe it or not, y'all, I hope Mike right. Like when Mike says this stuff, I'm not debating with him because I want him to be wrong. I want it to work out in Charlotte. Like I want Brandon Miller and Lamelo to be a thing. Like I want him to be right. You know what I'm saying? He's been right in the past. So hopefully these guys can get healthy and we can start seeing some good basketball, man. Like my last note is we still have not gotten an update on Mark Williams. We were supposed to get an update yesterday. We didn't get. They flew it under the radar, man. They flew it right under the radar, man. And Rod Boone, you up there blocking people because we want to know what's going on, bro. I wonder what's really going on with Mark Williams. I'm starting to get conspiracy theories at this point, man. Like, is there something more serious? And if it is, just go ahead and let us down and just tell us what it is, man. But don't have us game 20. Oh, he will be reevaluated in 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Rod Boone right now is fumbling the bag because
Facts.
he is the Hornets beat writer, and he's the only one. There is no competition right now. It's just him. And instead of using that to give the fans what they want to hear, he's acting like he works for the team opposing the fans, telling them to stop asking for things. And you know why he messed up right there? Because if you saw, it was like a day or two ago, talking about Mark or Brandon, Chris Hayes broke the news. And it's because these people, this is what, if you're a reporter, this is what your business is. You want people to come to you for information. So on one hand, you got Rod Boone scolding fans for asking him for the information he's getting on his own. He's telling the fans they're too tenacious. You should be doing that to the Hornets. Stop towing the company line. Of course they don't want to tell you what's going on, right? They're not supposed to. A journalist is supposed to be the one finding information out, not just taking what they're told and just being okay with it. I don't know where that brand journalism became, where it's all about just having access. But what's the point of access if you don't tell us anything? I can just follow the Hornets Twitter page and get the same information from him. So he's not doing anything. And when you start seeing someone like Chris Hayes, he's seeing there's buzz in Charlotte right now. There's buzz in LaMelo. So he's coming over here, starting to sidle up, and he's coming to space right now and fulfilling a hole and filling a demand that you aren't hitting right now.
And that's something I hope that the new owners change. When I was in the media room, that was the kind of get down. I just don't understand this team, bro. Like, bro, you're not champions. You're not some Eastern Conference contender. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, like, let people know what's going on. Like, that's true, Mike. There is an air around all of the media. It's not just Rod. Rod's in the front of it. But, like, all of these guys will let you know when we let you know. No, Cody Martin is not playing bad. Why are you towing this? This isn't the Lakers. Jeannie Buss isn't sitting in the front, and you stand to gain something here. Like, come on, man. Like, they got to get off of this. Open it up to the media. Open it up to the city. Open it up to the fans. Like once again, I really, and I'm not saying this to be funny, like, because I don't wish injury on Mark or no shit. Like, I really am getting concerned with what's going on with Mark Williams. Because when I see him, he's moving around. You can't really tell if a guy's injured based off how they're moving around the sideline. But what you can tell is if it's something nagging. If it's something nagging, a guy can be fine walking around in street clothes. But if it's something that keeps popping up, that starts to be who he is. I remember with Kawhi Leonard years ago. We started hearing rumors. Then they start getting louder. And now we're just accustomed to seeing him in street clothes. And I hope that ain't what's going on with Mark. Hopefully we get some good news here soon on our Mark Williams. Brandon Miller gets reevaluated next Saturday, actually. Next Saturday after the Boston game. And we'll see what's going on with Lamelo here tonight. I should know something in the next 2 hours. And hell, if I got to break that goddamn story, I'll break it. But, Mike, man, I appreciate you for pulling up, bro. Let me ask you something. If Melo don't play, Cody out, and these guys that may be out are out, do you think you can sit through the game, man?
Yeah, now because I'm invested, I want to
Okay.
I want to know. I got other questions about the roster. I won't be watching for entertainment, play that much, but I'll be watching it to learn something.
Okay. All right. I feel that. Well, appreciate y'all for pulling up, man. Shout out to Mike, man. We out of here, man. We'll see y'all tonight on Playback.